Today's video was inspired by an exercise we did on Saturday, which was a single leg squat. And not only myself, but also some of my clients realized that one side was stronger than the other. So today we're going to be looking at isolating some of our glute muscles to see which one is maybe not quite as active or could need a bit more strengthening, and also comparing right and left. So let's get started. So we've got our glute maximus, which is our top muscle, which is connected from the top of the hips, kind of going out on a diagonal into the outer side of the femur. So what our glute max does is it lifts, extends the hip back, and it also rotates our leg outwards, okay? Going that way. So to isolate that muscle, you want to be lying on your stomach. You also want to try and tuck your tailbone under. So pull long through the back of your spine, and so kind of pushing the pelvis a little bit more into the floor. Not over extensively, but you can see I'm tending to a bit of a lordotic back, particularly in a lying position. So we just want to try and put that into a bit more of a neutral position to start with. From here then, we're going to just lift our leg up, keeping it long. That's already engaging glute max. And now we're going to rotate our toes out, open the hip up, bring it back in, and pull it back down, or let it relax back down. So lift, rotate the hip open, come back, and relax. Now that rotation is not a big rotation, okay, but it also can tell you whether that rotation move works quite well or not. So obviously, if I come up here and forcefully rotate it, the movement becomes a bit bigger. But you want to really try and keep everything on the floor. Lift, rotate, come back, and relax. Do that on both sides. Compare the two sides and see whether this is something that you might need some work. Next one up is gluteus medius, which is more on the top part and kind of underneath gluteus maximus attachments. Gluteus medius together with gluteus minimus, you can't, like, they are really kind of doing the same work. They're both hip abductors. So meaning it's taking the leg away, abduction, and also medial rotation, so actually bringing the leg in. Therefore, I'm now already in the right position to work a glute max. So this one is called our clamshell, which most of you may have already done, experienced at some point when they went to the physio. So to get glute max activated here, as I said, it's a lateral rotation. So opening the hips up, that movement here will engage gluteus maximus. Now, gluteus medius and minimus, medial rotation, bringing the leg back together. I've got nothing here now because I kind of didn't plan for that. So I'm actually just going to use my hand, but you can use a ball or a towel or whatever, and control that movement on the way down, and then squeeze your legs together, squeeze that towel, squeeze that ball, squeeze my hand, whatever comes, and that will work your glute med and your glute min. And then you can open that up again, gluteus maximus is involved, put it back together, gluteus minimus and medius. Make sure you don't roll back and forwards. You want to stay super stable here and just let the leg do the work. So again, quite a nice one to isolate, to I don't want to say diagnose, but just to kind of figure out what may need some work and what's working fairly well. Okay. Then a nice combination move for all three. So once you've figured out, for example, that one side is a bit weaker than the other, you can go into a movement combination here So any kind of leg, as I said, abduction is going to do some good work through your glute med and your glute minimus. Once you bring your leg into extension or into hip extension here, that then will bring your glute medius a bit more into this equation as well. First movements we can do are just simple leg lifts. You want to bring your toes in towards you a little bit, but stay nice and open through the hips. And also keep your body now, when you go through the movements, nice and stabilized. So use your hands here, use your arms, you can put your head down, whatever is more comfortable. And from here we're going to just start with a straight lateral leg lift. Bringing the hip up, or the leg up and down. So the hip stays nicely stable, and we're just lifting that leg up and down. You don't actually need to go all the way up here, so that's a bit of a range of motion thing, whatever works. Just staying down here in a smaller range is all you need to start isolating those muscles. However, it never hurts to work through your whole range of motion that you've got available. Just make sure you're only using your leg. You're not starting to kind of bend in and out with your upper body and stuff as well. So from a straight position up here, we can then torque our foot slightly in, and that kind of creates that kind of lateral rotation. And we're going to take our leg slightly backwards and then take it up from here. So now you've got a leg lift which engages glute med and glute minimus, but also because of the positioning of the foot and the positioning of the leg, it includes gluteus maximus. Now to take glute med and minimum out of the equation, we can bring our leg simply back to only work through glute maximus. And with this one, you've got to be really mindful that you're really just using your leg and not overextending through the lower back. So as soon as you find your end range here, the movement is fairly small. It should be easy. Like if I try and push past here, I can already feel how the lower back is starting to try and compensate, and we don't want that. So make that movement as small as you need to. It should be easy to go through the first few reps. Obviously once the muscle starts to get tired, it'll become a bit harder. But to start with, it's just a slight extension backwards. You can do this all standing, but laying down is actually better because it does isolate everything a lot more than when you're standing up. Beautiful. I'm just going to give that a bit of a rest. Now you can combine all these together once you've found which side needs a little bit more extra work, or if the isolation moves are not enough for you anymore. We can then lift our leg up and we go tap forward and tap back. Tap forward and tap back. Make a little round motion, like a bit of a rainbow. That way you're covering your lateral rotation, your medial rotation, your abduction as well as your adduction, as well as your hip stabilization, which all three muscles play a major role in. Okay? So we've got those little rainbows here, and again just be mindful, particularly on the way back, you don't want to open up or fall back here, we don't want to rotate. Another one we can do is again lift that leg up. We're going to bring the leg back as far as we can, bend the knee, bring it forward, extend to the front and push down. So kind of as if you're sitting on a bike, going for a bit of a bicycle ride. Again, this can be quite challenging. I can feel a few muscles here stabilizing me as well that aren't really supposed to be working. So a bit of a core workout as well here. You will feel it as you go through. Extending back, bend your knee, bring it forward, extend and bring it back down. And you can do this reverse, bring it in, pull it through your hip extend out and bring it back around. So now we're working a little bit through the quads as well, but that's, as I said, more of an advanced move, this one anyway. So that's it for today, just a few exercises to isolate those glute muscles. Just in summary, glute maximus extends the hip back and rotates the hip laterally, so opening the hip up. Glute medius, glute minimus, abduct the leg, take the leg away, but rotate medial, so bringing the knee and the hip, closing that in, okay? So from here, medial rotation, from here, lateral rotation. Overall work for all three glute muscles is stabilization of the hip, keeping it all nice and tight. And yeah, so let me know how you go. If you've got any questions, send me a message, leave me a comment. And yeah, all the best. Hope this gets you a bit further in any of your fitness body endeavors. In diesem Sinne, tschö und bis bald.